I never thought I'd be the guy to get blindsided like this, especially not by someone I trusted with everything, my wife, Emily. We had a pretty good marriage, or so I thought. We'd been together for about 6 years and everything seemed smooth on the surface. She was always a little bit bitchy, sure, but I figured that was just her personality. She had a sharp tongue, always ready with a snarky comment or a sarcastic remark, but I loved her nonetheless. We were planning our wedding, finally tying the knot after years of dating. I remember feeling happy, excited, like nothing could go wrong. But looking back, I think I missed some clues, small things she didn't outright lie about but definitely hinted at. She'd be secretive about her phone more often, and sometimes she'd get defensive if I asked who she was texting. She'd brush it off, call me paranoid, say I was overthinking. She'd even go as far as to accuse me of snooping, which I hadn't done yet, but I felt it creeping in my mind. One day, I was at work, just doing my usual routine, when I noticed I had missed a few texts from her. Nothing big, just casual stuff, or so I thought. I was about to dismiss it until I saw her reply to someone with a message that made my stomach drop. It was a photo, something she'd sent to someone, and I recognized the name instantly. It was her brother, Jake. The message was flirty, a little provocative even, and the words she was using, not brotherly at all. I froze. My mind went into overdrive. Emily and Jake had always been close, but I never suspected anything beyond typical sibling banter. But this message, it was different, it was intimate. It sounded like she was lying right to my face, hiding this from me for months. I couldn't believe it. I reread the messages a few times, tried to convince myself I was wrong, but there was no denying the truth. Emily slept with my brother before our wedding day. I'd somehow missed the signs, and now, looking at this message, my world was crashing down. I felt a mix of anger, betrayal, and heartbreak all at once. How could she do this? How could she lie to my face for so long? I was furious at her, but I was also devastated. I mean, this was the woman I was supposed to trust with everything, and she had been fooling me all along, hiding this affair, hiding her true self. I started questioning everything, our memories, her words, her feelings. It was like I was living in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I needed to confront her, but I didn't want to do it right away. I needed to gather my thoughts, figure out what I was going to say, but the anger kept boiling up inside me. I felt betrayed in a way I never had before. How could she lie about something so colossal? I kept asking myself if I ever really knew her at all. The worst part was knowing she had slept with my brother, someone I should have been able to trust. All those family gatherings, holidays, moments I thought were innocent. Turns out they were just the surface of a much darker truth. Now I was left with this question. What do I do next? Do I forgive her? Do I try to salvage what's left of our relationship? Or do I just walk away and cut her out of my life? The thing is, I don't think I can trust her anymore, not after discovering this. And that's what I can't get past, how deep the betrayal runs. It's not just about the sex, it's the lies, the deception, the way she played me for months. She told me she loved me, made me believe in us, and all along she was cheating with my own brother. I've been sitting in this mess for days now, trying to decide if I should confront her face to face or just cut my losses. Honestly, part of me wants to see her squirm, to hear her explain herself, but I already know what she'll say. She'll deny it. She'll lie some more, call me crazy, blame the whole thing on some misunderstanding. That's what she always does. She's good at lying, at twisting stories around her finger. But I've seen the messages, I've read the words, and I know the truth. It's like I've been punched in the gut and I can't breathe right. I feel so stupid for trusting her, for thinking I knew her at all. I was supposed to marry her, and now I'm wondering if I ever truly knew what love was. I keep asking myself if I should even stay, if there's any way to fix this. But deep down, I know I can't forget. I can't forget the lies, the betrayal, the fact that she slept with my brother. That one fact is enough to ruin everything. So I sit here, trying to process what I just found out, trying to figure out if I should even bother talking to her or just walk away. It's one of those moments where your entire life changes in an instant. I never thought I'd be in a situation like this, but here I am, and honestly, I don't know if I'll survive it intact. After discovering those messages, everything changed for me. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I couldn't focus on anything. My mind kept bouncing back to that damn picture, those flirty words. How long had she been lying to me? How long had she been sneaking behind my back? It was like a switch flipped inside me. One moment I was the happy fiancé, and the next I was a guy drowning in betrayal and rage. I remember staring at my phone for what felt like hours, trying to decide what to do next. I knew I had to confront her, but I didn't want to go in blind. I needed to prepare myself for whatever she'd say, because I knew she'd lie, deny everything, and try to make me doubt myself. That's what she always did when she was caught lying. She'd twist things, manipulate, gaslight. I had to be ready for that. Finally, I decided I'd have to talk to her face to face, so I took a deep breath and called her. When she answered, her voice was sarcastic, annoyed, almost like I was bothering her. I told her I needed to see her. My tone was cold, distant. She was quick to protest, saying I was overreacting, that I was paranoid, that I was reading too much into the messages. She insisted she didn't sleep with Jake, that they were just close siblings, and that I was jealous or insecure. I could hear the defensiveness in her voice, like she was trying to convince herself as much as me. I didn't buy her lies. I knew what I'd seen. I told her I found the messages, that I knew she lied about everything. The silence on the other end was deafening. She sputtered, tried to explain, but her words sounded hollow. She kept repeating that I was crazy, that I was ruining everything for no reason. She called me paranoid, accused me of mistrusting her without cause. I told her I couldn't trust her anymore, that she had crossed a line I never thought she would. When I pressed her further to ask if she had slept with Jake, her tone shifted. She snapped at me, called me possessive, said I was crazy for even asking. That was the breaking point. I felt my blood boiling. I could feel the rage bubble up, threatening to explode. I told her I needed space, that I couldn't be around her right now. I hung up the phone, and for the first time in years, I felt genuinely lost. How do you come back from something like this? How do you look at someone the same way again after they lie about sleeping with your brother? I kept replaying everything I knew, every little sign I missed, every argument we had where she was defensive for no reason. I kept thinking about all the times she told me she loved me, and how that now felt like a sick joke. Over the next few days, I felt like I was in a fog. I went to work, but I couldn't focus. I'd stare at my phone, waiting for her to call or text, but she didn't. Part of me wanted to reach out to confront her again, but another part told me to hold back. I was furious, but I was also deeply hurt. What crushed me most was knowing she had been lying to me for months, maybe longer. I started questioning everything. Our wedding, her feelings, whether she even loved me or if I was just some placeholder she used until she found someone better. The worst part was that I still loved her, even after all I'd found out. I kept telling myself I should just cut my losses, walk away, move on. But it hurt so much to think about ending things, especially because a part of me still hoped she'd come clean, admit everything, and maybe, just maybe, want to fix this. But deep down, I knew that trust was broken beyond repair. You can't cheat with your brother, lie about it, and expect everything to go back to normal. While I was trying to process everything, I remembered the day I saw those messages. The way she lied about where she was that night, the fake tears she shed when I asked her about her whereabouts. She had lied so many times, I lost count. She told me she was working late, that she was with her girlfriends, that she was at a spa. But every alibi I had was flimsy at best, because I knew the truth now. She slept with my brother before our wedding day, and she had been hiding it from me the entire time. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. I also started thinking about my brother, Jake. I don't know what's worse, finding out my wife cheated on me, or knowing she did it with my own flesh and blood. It's like my entire family is now tainted. I can't look at them the same way. How do you go to a family gathering knowing the woman you loved, the woman you were planning to spend your life with, was sleeping with your brother all along? It's a sick, twisted kind of betrayal that I don't think I'll ever fully recover from. In this state of shock, I started to realize something. I had to make a choice. Do I fight for this marriage, or do I walk away and try to rebuild my life from scratch? The more I thought about it, the clearer it became. Trust was shattered beyond repair. No matter what she said, no matter what she did, I'd never look at her the same way again. The love I had for her was turning into a mix of disgust and heartbreak. I didn't want to live in this pain forever, but I also didn't want to pretend everything was fine anymore. That's where I am now, still trying to figure out what's next, still trying to breathe through the heartbreak. I don't know if I'll ever forgive her or if I even want to. All I know is that I can't keep pretending I don't know the truth. And that truth, it's ugly, it's painful, and it's going to change my life forever. The days after I found out were the worst of my life. I kept replaying everything in my head, every single sign I missed, every moment she lied, every time I brushed it off because I didn't want to believe the worst. Now I saw it all clearly. Emily had been cheating on me with my brother, Jake, and I had been blind to it the whole time. The betrayal cut so deep I felt like I was bleeding from the inside out. I remember sitting in my apartment, staring at the wall, trying to come up with a plan. I wasn't sure if I wanted to confront her again or just cut her out completely. Every ounce of me wanted to scream, to break things, to call her out in the ugliest way possible. But I also knew she'd lie her way out of it, try to manipulate me into believing she was innocent, that it was all some big misunderstanding. She always had a way of twisting the truth, making herself look like the victim. That's what made everything so much harder. I decided I'd wait, see if she reached out first, but I wasn't going to sit around doing nothing. I wanted to see if she'd try to deny it, or worse, gaslight me into doubting what I knew. Meanwhile, I started digging into her phone, wanting to see if there were more clues, more messages I hadn't seen. It wasn't easy. I felt like a criminal invading her privacy, but I had to know everything. I found a lot more than I bargained for. There were messages from other guys, flirtatious texts, even explicit photos. She was hiding a whole life from me, and I was just discovering it in pieces. Seeing all of that was a punch to the gut. The woman I thought I knew was a fraud. She'd lied so much that I didn't even recognize her anymore. I kept asking myself how I missed all of this. Was I blind? Was I naive? Or just too in love to see the truth? Whatever the reason, I felt stupid, used, like I'd been played for a fool. Then she finally reached out. One night her number lights up my screen. I hesitated at first, unsure whether I was strong enough to face her or if I should just block her and move on. But part of me needed to hear her voice to see if she'd own up or keep spinning her lies. So I answered. Her voice was sassy, a little bitchy as usual. She started with a typical deflection, trying to make me feel guilty for accusing her of something she didn't do. She said I was paranoid, completely ignoring what I had found. She threw in the usual, "You don't trust me, you're overthinking, and you're crazy for even bringing this up." I was seething. I told her I knew the truth, that I had seen the messages, and that I wasn't going to let her gaslight me anymore. Her reaction: she went into full denial mode. She yelled, called me jealous, said I was insecure. She said I was imagining things, that Jake and her had nothing going on, that I was just insecure because I was about to get married. I could hear the fake tears, the angry bitterness in her voice. Her tone was so manipulative I almost felt guilty for questioning her. But I didn't. I told her she was a liar, that I had everything documented, and that she could keep lying all she wanted, but I was done. That call was a turning point. I realized I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I was done playing her game. My trust was shattered beyond repair, and I knew I had to decide whether to stay and fight or walk away for good. I was exhausted from the emotional roller coaster of the past few days, but I also felt a strange sense of clarity. I had to end this one way or another. It was either face the brutal reality or keep living in denial. The thing is, I still loved her. Despite everything, I still loved Emily. That's what hurts the most, the part of me that wanted to believe in us, in her. But love isn't enough when lies and betrayal are involved. I kept telling myself I deserved better. I deserved honesty, respect, someone who wouldn't sleep with my brother behind my back. I wrestled with the idea of confronting her again, but deep down I knew that wouldn't change anything. The damage was done, and I couldn't keep pretending I was okay with it. Every night I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about what I'd do next. Should I stay and try to work things out, or should I just cut my losses and walk away? The more I thought about it, the clearer it became to me. Trust was gone, even if she admitted everything, even if she begged for forgiveness. I don't see how I could ever look at her the same way again. That betrayal ran too deep. It wasn't just about the sex, it was about the lies, the deception, the way she'd managed to hide her true self for so long. In this moment of clarity, I realized I needed to take control. I couldn't let her manipulate me anymore. I had to decide, once and for all, what was best for me. And honestly, I think walking away is the only real choice. I'm not sure I'll ever fully forgive her, but I do know I need to heal to find myself again, and to rebuild my life without the shadow of her lies hanging over me. That's where I am now, trying to piece my life back together, one painful step at a time. The decision to walk away didn't come easily, but deep down, I knew it was the only way to save what was left of my sanity. After that phone call, I started packing my things. I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of me showing weakness or staying around to fight a losing battle. I was done. Honestly, I felt like I was ripping my own heart out, but there was no choice. Trust had been completely shattered, and I couldn't keep pretending that everything was okay. I remember the moment I told her I was leaving. She tried to play the victim, of course. Her voice was sharp, that bitchy tone she always used when she was angry or defensive. She called me names, accused me of ruining everything, said I was overreacting and being paranoid. She swore she loved me, that she'd never do anything to hurt me, but I didn't believe her. Not anymore. Every word out of her mouth sounded hollow, like she was just trying to manipulate her way out of the mess she created. When I told her I knew about her sleeping with Jake, her face turned red. I saw the flicker of panic in her eyes, followed by that fake smile she always used when she was trying to cover her guilt. She kept denying it, said it was all a misunderstanding, that they were just close, that I was jealous and insecure. I didn't buy it. I told her I had seen the messages, that I had proof. And I was done playing her game. I packed a bag, and that night I left that apartment for good. Driving away, I felt a strange mixture of relief and heartbreak. Once I was out of there, I realized how much I'd been holding inside, how much pain I'd been suppressing for so long. Now that I was finally free of the false illusion, I could breathe again, even if it hurt like hell. I kept replaying the last conversation in my head, trying to make sense of it all. How could she lie so convincingly? How could someone I loved so deeply betray me in such a cruel way? The anger still burned inside me, but beneath it there was a deep sadness, a feeling of loss for what I thought we had. I had to reach out to friends, family, anyone who could give me some perspective. I didn't want to drown in my own misery. I confided in a couple of close friends, and they told me I was doing the right thing, that I deserved better, that I shouldn't stay in a relationship built on lies. They reminded me that no matter how much I still loved her actions showed she didn't respect or value me enough. That was a hard pill to swallow, but I knew they were right. Over the next few days, I started to think about what I really wanted moving forward. I knew I needed space, time to heal and get my head straight. I also knew I had to cut ties with Emily completely. No more texts, no more calls, no more checking her social media, nothing. I deleted her number, blocked her on everything, and told myself I'd focus on myself. I needed to rebuild my confidence, regain my trust in people, and figure out what kind of future I wanted. The weird thing was, even with all the heartbreak and betrayal, I felt a strange sense of clarity. I realized how much I had been putting her on a pedestal, ignoring the red flags, convincing myself that everything was fine because I was afraid of losing her. But now I saw clearly. She had never truly loved me, not the way I loved her. She had been playing a game, one that I was stupid enough to believe I could win, but that game was rigged from the start. I started working out, trying to clear my mind. I took long walks, went to therapy, and tried to process everything. I won't lie, I still have moments when I break down, when I feel the hurt creeping back in. But I'm also learning to be okay with being alone, to accept that I got played, and that I deserve better than someone who cheats, lies, and manipulates. I'm not perfect, and I still have a long way to go, but I know now that I can survive this. Honestly, the hardest part is trusting myself again. Trusting that I won't fall for another liar, another manipulator. I keep reminding myself that I deserve honesty, respect, and loyalty. That I should never settle for someone who's willing to sleep with my brother and then lie right in my face about it. I've been betrayed in ways I never imagined, but I refuse to let that define me. Right now, I'm taking it day by day, trying to rebuild my life from scratch piece by piece. It's not easy, and I know the scars will stay with me for a long time, but I also know I won't let this break me. I'll come out of it stronger, more aware of what I want and what I don't. And most importantly, I'll never forget what she did, so I'll never trust her again. That lesson is burned into my mind now. Never ignore the signs, never assume someone's loyalty without proof, and never, ever stay in a relationship where betrayal is lurking just beneath the surface. The passage of time has been both cruel and kind. At first, every day felt like I was just surviving, like I was walking through a fog of hurt and betrayal. But slowly, I started to piece myself back together. I threw myself into work, trying to keep busy and distract my mind from the constant replay of everything that happened. I also started seeing a therapist, which helped me unpack some of the pain and anger I was holding onto. One of the hardest truths I had to face was that no matter how much I wanted to blame Emily or Jake, ultimately, I was the one who trusted them blindly. I ignored the warning signs, made excuses for her, convinced myself that she loved me and that I was overthinking. My mistake was thinking love meant ignoring the red flags. That lesson hit me hard. I learned that love, real love, is built on honesty and respect, not lies, secrecy, or betrayal. The worst part was realizing how much I had invested emotionally into this relationship, how much I had sacrificed, how much I had believed in us. And for what? For her to sleep with my brother. It was like I'd been fighting an uphill battle with my own trust. Now that I was free of her, I saw how much I'd been blind. I let her manipulate me into thinking I wasn't enough, that I was paranoid or insecure. But the truth was, I just wanted honesty. Gradually, I started to see glimpses of hope. I reconnected with friends I'd been distant from, people who reminded me who I am outside of this nightmare. I began to realize I had worth, even if it was buried under a mountain of heartbreak. I started dating again, cautiously at first, testing the waters. And surprisingly, I found that I could open up again, that I could trust strangers more than I could trust Emily now. But I won't pretend it's all sunshine and rainbows. Some nights, I still wake up with nightmares, images of her lying to my face, Jake smirking in those messages. The pain lingers, the betrayal still stings, and I know I'll carry these scars for a long time. But I also recognize that I'm stronger now. I've faced my worst fears and survived. That's something I never thought I'd say after everything I went through. One thing I've come to accept is that I'll never be able to fully trust her again, no matter what she says or does. And honestly, I don't want to. Trust isn't something you can rebuild overnight after it's been shattered like that. It takes time, genuine effort, and most importantly, honesty. And I've seen enough to know she's not capable of giving me that anymore. So, I've made peace with the idea of moving on without her. Looking back, I realize I was naive to think that love meant ignoring red flags or pretending everything was fine. Love is supposed to make you feel safe, respected, and valued. I lost all of that when I discovered her lies and her affair with Jake. But I also learned something crucial. I am better than that. I deserve someone who won't cheat, lie, or hide parts of themselves just to keep me in the dark. Now I'm working on rebuilding myself slowly but surely. I refuse to let this define me. I want to be someone who recognizes red flags early, who values honesty, and who doesn't settle for betrayal. It's a long road, and I know I'll have days when I'm overwhelmed with anger or sadness. But I'm determined to move forward, stronger than before. Because if there's one thing I've learned from all this, it's that I am capable of surviving the worst kind of betrayal, because I already have. And I will keep going one step at a time. It's been months since I left her, and honestly, I never thought I'd get to this point, feeling like I'm slowly regaining some sense of normalcy. I still think about her, about how she lied and betrayed everything we built. Sometimes, the pain hits me like a ton of bricks, especially on nights when I'm alone with my thoughts. But I've also learned to live with it, to accept that not everything can be fixed or forgiven. Some wounds run too deep, and trust is something I might never fully get back. What I do know now is that I'm not the same person I was back then. I've become more cautious but also more aware of what I deserve. I've realized that love isn't about ignoring red flags or convincing yourself that things will get better when deep down you already know they won't. It's about respect, honesty, and mutual trust. Without that, everything else is meaningless. Looking back, I wish I had seen all the signs earlier. Maybe I wouldn't have gotten so blindsided. Maybe I would have protected myself better. But I also know that some things are only clear in hindsight. What matters now is that I've learned from it. I've become more resilient, more self-aware, and I refuse to let this experience define me in a negative way. Instead, I choose to see it as a hard but necessary lesson, one that taught me I am stronger than I thought I was. I've moved on, at least in the sense that I'm trying to build a future without her. I've started focusing on myself, my career, my health, my passions. I'm rebuilding my confidence piece by piece, and I remind myself daily that I deserve honesty and loyalty from whoever I choose to trust next. No more settling for less. No more ignoring red flags. No more lies. The betrayal with my brother will always be a scar in my mind, a reminder of how fragile trust can be and how easily it can be broken. But I also know that I can't let it define me. I refuse to become bitter or cynical, because I believe that somewhere out there, there's someone who will value me for who I am, not for what I can give or hide. This whole experience has changed my outlook on life and love. I've learned that sometimes the hardest lessons are the ones that teach us the most about ourselves. I've learned to listen to my instincts, to trust myself more, and to never ignore the warning signs again. And most importantly, I've learned that no betrayal can take away my right to be happy and to find someone who truly respects me. So I move forward, not with anger or resentment, but with a cautious hope. Because I know now that I am capable of surviving the worst and that I'll come out stronger on the other side. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that I am done living in the shadow of her lies. I am reclaiming my life piece by piece, day by day. And that in itself is a victory.